Chapter 14, Otherworld's Moon 4. It's cooked well. Hansu stabbed at the meat with the kitchen knife that was almost completely dull and tasted it while chewing on it. Meat from which the toxins were perfectly removed by being boiled with blood and having been mixed with the green worm's pancreas. There's a lot of juices coming out too. Hansu spoke whilst eating leisurely. Most of the toxins within the goblin meat disappear if you boil it in goblin blood. Just don't eat the intestines or the liver. But they weren't in a situation where they could focus on that. The moonlight was accurately showing the mob of people charging at them. Mihi gulped as she saw the people running at them from afar. Are you perhaps going to protect us when a fight breaks out between us and them? Perhaps if we're friends. Sangjin's expression became bright at those words. Who else would be his friends other than them in this place? He and Mihi had abandoned Taisun and picked Hansu. But Mihi clenched her teeth at those words and spoke. How do we become that friend? Hansu laughed at those words. It's not like a driver's exam. Why would there be a condition to become a friend? You might have become a friend suddenly at one point. You don't become a friend who can trust each other and protect each other by fulfilling objectives. You become a friend by protecting and trusting each other in every situation. Just like those guys. Sangjin then realized his misconception from Hansu's words and then spoke as his face reddened. But then how do we deal with those guys? Hansu shook his head at those words. You should take care of yourself at least. Sangjin was enraged by Hansu's careless words. Damn it! Then why are we hanging around with you? But Hansu only shrugged his shoulders. You should figure that answer out by yourself. The fact is that being with me is more dangerous. Sangjin clenched his teeth at those words. That was actually a fact. They followed after Hansu and fought down the dangerous train station. If they didn't go with Hansu and instead hung around the bigger crowd, it would have been safer. And Hansu didn't have any notion of keeping them safe. Sangjin watched the people running towards them from afar as he clenched his teeth. Then he breathed in and out and started to walk over. I thought that we could go to the end together, but you're just too much. I thought that you were my friend, but you do not care for me. Sangjin started to walk towards a direction after ending his speech. And thought inwardly at the same time. But I didn't do anything bad like that bitch Taisun, so if I come back after removing myself for a while, he would probably take me back in. Hansu laughed at Sangjin, who was taking shelter in order to first dodge the terrifying storm. Seriously here? Once they tie them together in school for a few years, the word friend seems to have gotten much more common. Hansu talked to Mihi as he looked at Sangjin, who was leaving. Aren't you going too? That's the best solution if you want to be safe. Mihi shook her head at those words. You won't take me back in if I leave. She's really quick to catch on. Mihi clenched her teeth while Hansu laughed inwardly. This isn't the situation to look for an umbrella to escape the rain. The other friend hadn't realized the essential truth yet. They are instinctively looking for a safe place because of the dangerous situation. And since Hansu seemed safe, they had stayed there. But Hansu didn't have the idea to protect them, and they shouldn't be doing that anyways. They should not be looking for safety here. They needed to grow. They needed to rush their growth. To deal with the strong predators that will flood them. And it wasn't only beasts. If you did not want to get eaten up by humans, you needed to become stronger at a faster pace than others. And Hansu was talking very plainly. He said he wouldn't protect them, but did not speak of not learning from him. Didn't he say it before? He won't take them with him, but he wouldn't mind them following. If they rely on something here, they will really die. Mihi came next to Hansu, who was thinking, and started to cook the goblin meat after boiling the goblin blood. This is a gamble. She had too many things to learn. And to do that, she needed to follow and learn from Hansu, who had psychic powers, and hunt along with him. If she could survive today next to him, then she had another day's worth of things she could learn. I don't know when an unexpected variable like that moon come out. Mihi, who had strengthened her resolve, started to sharpen the knife to deal with the ones coming towards them. Huff! Puff! The four who had ran zealously finally ended near Hansu. Sunmi made a ridiculing expression as she saw the view in front of her. Did he come to camp? And why is he using the pot separately? Sangjin was nowhere to be seen and only Mihi and Hansu were left. The two were boiling something in the pot and were chewing on that. Sunmi clenched her teeth at this. These despicable guys. These two knew a way of preserving the food. It's no wonder they had left in such a leisure. These guys probably knew that all the food had burnt down to nothing. Sunmi, who had been grinding her teeth, breathed in and out and then shook her head. No. This is better actually. If he knows the method, he only needed to share it. And we didn't do anything wrong like Taisun, right? Actually, Taisun being taken by them was a benefit. That senseless guy was holding up his confidence even in a place like this. If she was Hansu, she would not let someone who acted like Taisun alone. Yeah. If you want to go through this harsh world, you need a trustworthy friend. Her mind was much more at ease after deciding. And once her mind was at ease, hunger was rising up. Damn. I just realized that I couldn't get to eat anything. She was in a situation of tension for the whole day, along with the intense exercise that she didn't usually perform made her energy usage much more severe. And it seemed like that the surrounding friends were in the same situation, from their mouths watering from seeing the meat over there. Sunmi spoke out after setting her mind. Huff. You were here. Could we eat together? Hansu smirked and rose from his seat. And held the needle as he drew a circle around the area 3m away from him. Shiik. Shik. What are you doing? Don't come in. What? Are you seriously going to be that petty? Sunmi spoke out from utter disbelief. They weren't grade schoolers or something, to draw a circle because they bickered a little. And they were simply bystanders. And the main culprit wasn't even here. But Hansu didn't reply as he went back to his seat and started to chew as he continued his meal. Sunmi spoke out after staring at Hansu for a while. If I enter, what are you going to do? Hansu replied softly. Oh, I don't know. But from my psychic powers it seems that it won't be that good. That bloody psychic powers shows such a thing too here. As Sunmi grinded her teeth, Hansu just shrugged his shoulders. I know other things too. Like if you stay here it would be dangerous for you. As soon as Hansu spoke, the four quickly looked behind them. They had forgotten momentarily from the security and distraction from the food in front of their eyes that they were being chased. The mob was screaming in rage as they were running towards them. Look at those bitches. They are cooking by themselves. I know this would happen. Those bitches are the ones that went into the convenience store first. You dare to trick us? And in front of the mob, there was a half-beaten-up Taisun. Jisuan shouted in glee. Taisun! You were Saf! Shut up! You despicable bitch! You dare to leave me behind like that! Sunmi, Jisuan and the others were startled at the enraged shouts that was resonating through the air. They were indeed in a hurry, but they did indeed leave a friend behind. But Jisuan rebutted in a hurry. No, it isn't like that. Listen to me. We were going to come to Hansu and ask for help. This crazy bitch. You dare say that? Taisun shouted as he grinded his teeth. By that point he would have been badly beaten up. If he didn't beg, and didn't say he would go under them, then it wouldn't have ended this easily and he would have become minced meat. Fuck, to guys who are weaker than me. There's no strong against a number. And that was the reason why he could not forgive them even more. These bitches. I wanted to be together. He could not forgive Hansu, the four bitches and even Mihi who had betrayed him. And for that he was willing to go through a little bit of humiliation. Whilst Taisun was looking over in rage, the shouts of the people were getting louder as well. But at that point Giltai came out as he shouted. Whoa! Whoa! Calm down first everybody. The new guy should calm down too. It was the words of one person, but they were rather intimidated. He has controlled the mob rather well. Hansen nodded at the guy who had spoke to him when he first left. Since he came with a bunch of scruffy guys who treated him as the boss, so controlling a mob wasn't that hard. Since he didn't seem like a normal person. Giltai smiled as he looked at Hansu. It's good to see you again. A young person has such abilities. Where did you get the meat? Hansu bobbed his chin at those words. Why are you looking for meat from me when there's meat everywhere? Giltai looked around the corpses that had been stacked around him. He ate that. Giltai hadn't already tried that out. Since he ordered a few to try it out. But that food was not something you could eat. The toxicity was so strong that the ones who had eaten are still having diarrhea and were suffering from dehydration. They will probably die. Since dehydration in a situation like this meant death. But he was eating that in ignorance. Giltai organized his thoughts and spoke. It seems that the younger brother knows the method of eating it. At those words Hansen nodded as he spoke so everyone could hear. If you boil it in goblin blood you can eat it. Go and try it. A simple intel such as this wouldn't hasten the process of the invasion of the abyss. Giltai pondered inwardly as he looked at Hansu. Did they say this bitch had psychic powers? As they approached here, that Tysoon guy had babbled everything out. That the guy called Hansu seemed to have psychic powers. And thanks to that they had all gotten stronger faster and attained the food from the store. And he obtained something valuable in there, right? Giltai made his decisions quickly. He didn't know what would happen the next day when the distance between them is spread apart further. And even though he had established a large group, but most of them were normal people, so they were hard to utilize in a fight. If we're going to fight, then today's the day. He had no intention to kill. Why would he kill somebody with psychic powers? And no matter if he flew about, he was only a normal person around 20 years of age. If he receives some beating and some knife cuts, he will be in trauma and become submissive. And then he can suck out his bone marrow. The fact that he's in such a leisure is a bit troubling, but he could figure that out, and that would be that. Giltai, who had made his decision, gave a wink. The new guy should go over and take a bite. Talk a little too. I heard you guys were friend. If you are friends, that he should at least give you a bit of meat, right? Tysoon, who was grinding his teeth, started to walk over proudly. If you indeed have some hidden motives, then you shouldn't be able to act recklessly in front of this crowd. Tysoon took large steps as he headed towards Hansu's pot. And Hansu, who was watching this, chuckled. I'm sorry that I couldn't keep it even for a day, this seems like the end of it. From the way these guys were acting, it seemed like would be hard to keep. Since he was closer to Chaldean anyway. There was a reason why he was closer to him. Mihi, who was watching Tysoon walk over towards the circle Hansu had drawn, suddenly felt a chill spike up from behind her. Hansu's expression was changing at a rapid rate. Well, to be more accurate, he was still smiling, but the expression was turning scarier as his eyes were changing. Deeper and at the same time, colder. And Mihi knew instinctively when she saw this. He wasn't angry. This was his true nature. He had simply been holding down on it until now for some reason. She then realized that no matter how selfish Tysoon and the others acted in front of Hansu, they had never blocked his way or disturbed him in any way. And Mihi, who had thought up to that point, urgently responded. No! Don't come in. Don't cross that line. But then Tysoon grinded his teeth as he shouted. You just wait right there. And then Tysoon recklessly crossed the line.